Sister, how much do you love me?
With all my soul.
Would you do anything for me?
Anything.
Would you die for me?
Yes!
Promise. Pumpkin.
Muffin.
This is a special episode, though.
Yeah.
This is a last-minute thing that we wanted to give to our fans for the Halloween season.
And specifically fans of the new Netflix series Wednesday, directed by Tim Burton.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, Tim
I hope
Burton
it's
finally
good.
getting his hands in Sonnenfeld's
Yeah.
Addams Family universe.
Welcome to the machine.
The little teaser trailer was good. I enjoyed it. It reminded me of, the series a little bit.
Had kind of a Sabrina quality to it. Like the Sabrina that's on Netflix now, the newer one, kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
You brought that up, and yeah, that's very accurate of
Yeah.
what I think they're going in that direction.
Yeah, I like the lead. She's
great.
Latina, and
Yeah.
I like how they're kind of like taking the Sonnenfeld torch of Gomez, like going for more Latin than the TV show.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like going that direction.
Yeah.
It totally fits, and like.
And the
That's
original
cool.
designs of the characters were that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the original drawings.
strip.
Yeah. They look more what they look like, in the
Speaking of the show, did you know, so Pubert in this movie values the baby Pubert, which is the best name ever, was originally going to be in the show. That was Pugsley's name. And then the network was like, we can't have Pubert, no. So they can't, they made him change it to Pugsley.
Yeah, in the
Did not know
60s
that.
especially, they're like, what do you want to do? Like, you're lucky you had this show on.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry, the kid's name's Pubes? What?
Yeah.
No.
And it seems like the show pushed pretty hard for the 60s too. I mean,
it did.
you know.
It's funny, because obviously, we probably grew up with the Addams Family movies, like more than the show, because we didn't have it available at the time unless you're watching like an old a program that would like show old TV shows and stuff like that. Now you can watch it almost anywhere, which I love, because the original series is so good and it holds up still. And you look at it now, and it was so ahead of its time, and it was pushing the limits for what it was, in the 60s. You're talking about some mild child abuse, but it's like all a part of the fun family and stuff like that. But like people were laughing. I talked to my mom recently that I was rewatching the old shows. She was like, I can't believe you're watching that. She was like, we used to love that. Like that was like our shit, like as kids, like, because it was so different from like the white picket fence, and
Well, and
the inverse.
I know a lot of white picket fence people that seem to just dig the Addams Family.
Yeah.
It seemed like it's a show that had spooky elements, but yet it seemed to like cross a lot of,
just lighthearted.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the title of the sequel, Addams Family Values, is like a direct response to. Do you know what it's responding to?
No.
That's a great point that I'm like blanking on, but a politician had said there was a corrosion of
Dan Quayle.
Dan Quayle.
Oh, that's such a Dan
yeah.
Quayle thing to say.
And this was about the LA riots, right?
Yeah, and it
Yes.
was a result of the corrosion of the
the
family
family
unit.
values.
Family values
Right,
was
yeah.
his key word.
Yeah.
And so that was like a play on that,
Yeah.
naming this movie.
He was a lot of jokes came out of Dan
Yeah, he was a
Quayle,
dork,
so-
man. Yeah.
But dating back to the show, dating back to the cartoon, it's always stayed true to this pure juxtaposition of the American, not platonic, but American dream style family unit.
Yeah.
Two wife and husband, two kids,
Right.
dog, white picket fence.
Yeah.
Just the typical American dream, but flipped on its head. And that's where this movie completely shines, and the two movies completely shine, because they take all those normal everyday conventions and they flip them and they invert them so that they become humorous, because every single joke is just a play on your expectations of, wait, what? Everything's a double take that they say, and that's what makes it extra funny.
And the concept of the story with the sort of courting of fester and everything. This was a theme that actually, of all the, well, there's 2 Addams Family movies in this period of time, but this theme was something that was done in the original series a few times.
Yeah.
This whole like love connection thing, some kind of person coming into the house.
Well, I remember in the old show, they brought in Morticia's sister. And remember, she was like blonde,
Yes.
and she's like
and it was
pristine.
played by the same
Carolyn Jones.
Carolyn Jones.
It's like
Who
a reverse
rules.
of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
Cousin.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
But they always had to compete against Morticia and Gomez having the ultimate relationship.
Which,
Yeah.
let me say something about that.
Yeah.
So
We can
that
talk
is
about
a
that for an
real
hour.
Yeah.
thing. So when me and the love of my life watch Addams Family together, and we watch a lot of the original series, I can feel in her looks at me when that couple is being very romantic on screen.
Yeah.
That it's just this look of, we don't have that. Why don't we have that?
Yeah.
I want that.
Yes.
I want that.
Yes.
Yeah, when I watch it-
Because
Gomez is so, like, he is genuinely
worships her.
yes.
Yes.
He will
Yes.
worship the ground that she walks, and
Yeah.
like
Yes.
literally, like kisses her all the time,
Yes.
constantly with her,
Yes.
holding her, touching her, being with her. His life is her.
Like
and
half
it's
her
so
day is
adorable.
spent,
Yeah.
kind of like getting him to settle down a
Yeah,
little bit.
he's like, I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm not just trying to go back to the old show. The old show, he's always like playing with shit and like it's a train set and he's blowing
yeah.
shit up.
Yeah.
But he always comes back to her and he's
Yes.
always trying to adore her
Yeah.
in any second he can. And it's like
Yeah.
and like you would think any other show, I'd be like, bleh, like this is so gross. But then you watch that, there's like a feeling
They
of
have
like
straight
genuine.
up PDA.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
It's so
extreme
genuine.
PDA.
Right.
But their relationship is this. It's so extreme, in a positive way, that they influence their children. And the great thing about the Next Generation is these are fleshed out characters in this series, in this movie, that when given the opportunity to have an opinion about her parents, I think Joel's character at the end of this movie is dressed up as Gomez, and he's like,
Wednesday, do you think like maybe someday you might want to get married and have kids?
No.
you know, basically offering himself up as, I could be like Gomez, I could worship you, and what would you feel about that? And she's like, I would pity you. So she's like, she's the inverse of her parents, even though they're cut
point.
from
Yes.
the same cloth.
Yes.
So it's like, not everybody wants that life. Not everybody needs that Gomez and Morticia Addams
True.
relationship.
Yeah.
However, it's amazing to watch, and you definitely are like, yeah, I wish my relationship was that strong. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
whoever
yeah.
you're with. But it's like, that is an obsession relationship that
Yes.
should be toxic,
Yes.
but it works for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I even watched, there's a great video, I'll try to link it in the description maybe. There's a great video on YouTube, I don't know if y'all caught this, but a therapist made a video about their relationship.
Oh, that's interesting.
Broke it down, went scene by scene with a filmmaker, kind of bouncing ideas off, and he did a whole 7-part or 7 lesson skill thing, how to develop skills for your own relationship based on Gomez and Morticia, and actually talking about how it's all actually healthy things that they're doing.
Yeah.
And fundamentally.
Hey,
Sure.
I've started on some arm kissing, since that, and it works.
Yeah.
You know.
And like I said, they love it. They love it. Okay.
Yeah.
And let's kick this in the high gear
Because we
real
do
quick, 'cause-
we do worship our significant others, but he really knows how to show it.
But
He
not only
knows how
that,
to,
in this one in particular, they are so sexually charged.
Yes.
It's hilarious. But as a kid, that just goes right over your head. But when you watch it now, you're like, good Lord, this is awesome. This is so great that they were able to get away with this.
Yes.
This is such the MTV generation back then, where they were just getting away with shit. And I love this movie for it, because they were able to get away with stuff like
And
that.
they're such good parents too.
Yeah.
They never neglect their kids. Arguably, the kids flying into the stratosphere and touching an airplane, but it's a cartoon. But aside from that, they're loving to their kids. They're going out of their way to try to rescue his brother from this relationship. you know, these two are like they're holding the family unit,
Yeah.
in which is constantly expanding and shaking its
Yes.
foundation.
Yeah.
But they're the sun that everything rotates around,
Yeah.
that pure love
Yeah.
source.
And the Addams Family house is like this house of exploration for
Oh,
the kids.
God,
like they're
so
constantly
good.
like, you know, experimenting, and where when you
Yes.
go later on to the camp and you see the other parents, you know, everyone's trying to be formed in the perfect little
Probably
model.
the best little B plot that a movie can
Yes.
have.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like-
So
a huge
good.
part of what makes this
Real
movie so
quick,
good.
real quick. Okay, I enjoyed this one more than the first Addams
Right,
Family
that's why we're
movie.
here.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the other first one's bad. It's great.
No.
But this one is to me it's perfect. Minus one thing I'll get to later.
Okay.
It's perfect. It's perfect. The whole time I was watching, I was just laughing and like being like, "Oh
They
my
go for the
god, this
jokes.
is so clever." And this one to me picked up more where the original series left off, where it's just like great witty jokes, bam, bam, bam. Still have that darkness to it. Up it up. They up it a little bit, you know, with this generation. But man, like to me, this one is like the successor to the original series, the black
Yeah.
and white, amazing, well written show.
And even both of them together, it's amazing how well these films worked out.
yes,
You know, because it seems like it shouldn't have worked out as well as it did.
to me, it was a big chance to do these movies.
Yeah, and they put
Yeah.
their heart and soul into these movies. Like they're
Yes.
so well casted.
The cast is
The cast
perfect.
is so perfect. Production design perfect.
Yes.
You know, the jokes work.
The costumes, everything about this movie
Yes.
is perfect.
I've read a couple of times that I don't think there was a lot of confidence in the first film even when it was in its production
Yeah.
stage and when it was released, but
kicked
it
ass.
just exceeded expectations, and the
Critically,
sequel
box office, everything.
blows away expectations.
So
you know?
good.
I love the labyrinth like under the house in the first one when he has a moat where we need to go to the vault and where they hide the money and everything, and it's just a dude's lounge
So creative.
down there. Like all that stuff, the world building, it's a cartoon, so it's like all bets are off. There's
Yes.
no rules that they have to abide by, but they gave themselves a structure of rules and balances, checks and balances that make the film so strong within its world that it's built. And the sequel starts immediately where the last one leaves
Yeah.
off pretty much. And they developed all those characters so well in the first one that they all just grab the ball and run in the second one, and they're able to splinter and do that A-B plot sitcom style and have two insane movies going on at the same time, and then coming back and having a fruitful conclusion, to all parties.
Yeah.
All being about relationships and values, essentially the title. This movie that's fundamentally about what is family, what is a relationship between man and a woman, man and man, what is relationship
Parents
between
and kids.
creature and
Yeah.
kids,
Yeah.
baby and rest of the family, baby against older siblings. It's just this unbelievable relationship dynamic
Yeah.
of every one that you can think of shoved into one movie.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel bloated or
No.
overloaded.
No.
It's streamlined.
The
it's
pacing
lean.
Yeah.
is incredible. Like
Addams-
it's a breeze.
Yeah,
it's
Addams
a breeze
Family
to get through.
takes real family issues and things that happen in the regular family and just gives turns it up in a dark, spooky vibe.
Well, it
like
flips it,
everything they go through is something that we can all relate to.
Or it's something the Brady Bunch went through, but they just did it a different way.
Yeah,
I mean, like literally.
You know, it's like in this movie, like having the baby, being worried about the baby being hurt, or like the things that's going on there. Even that is
when she's giving birth, I love that
Oh my
scene
God.
where she's just like,
yeah.
Mrs. Addams, would you like anesthesia?
No, thank you. But do ask the children.
Cara mia.
Mon cher.
Mrs. Addams, the baby?
Pardon.
like it's just so like
Are you in
whatever.
excrucial pain?
Yeah,
It's like, we.
yeah,
Yes.
Yes, so good. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, the new kind of addition to the family through
Hubert.
Fester's.
Or no.
Several
hold
new
on.
additions.
Yeah, there's several new additions and how that can affect a family.
Okay,
That's something we all go through.
yes. Okay, so obviously this cast is awesome. For me, the MVP award has to go to Christopher Lloyd as Fester. He is the star of this movie.
He steals the show every time.
And he's so goddamn animated in this movie that like you're just like you couldn't ask for a better performance.
and
like
empathetic
Yes.
I was just gonna say you love him, like you want him to find love. You want him to be okay
When
because
he
you're worried about
survives,
him.
which is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie, when he survives the electrocution.
Oh, sorry.
The electrocution in the bathtub, and he's able to do his quintessential
Light bulb
in the mouth. As
So good.
Whoever wrote that deserves an award because not only is it one of the best shot sequences where she's like, "Would you die for me?"
Yes.
And he throws it in there, and he's like, "Yes," because he wants to be Gomez so bad, and you feel for him so bad.
Yes.
He finally found love, and you know this woman's just gonna fucking like railroad him, and here it is, she's gonna do it, and she kills him, but it doesn't kill him. It's a play on that, and then he's like stronger from it, you know.
Yes.
And his like character trait, his full character trait comes through. And it keeps the story momentum up. And just that scene, God, that sequence of the electrocution looks so fucking cool. It's just such a good sequence. And, like, that's just the beginning of their relationship.
Yeah.
When she gets him and he puts on the bowl haircut and the sweater.
God.
I mean, dude, that is so goddamn funny. And when I like when they finally get the house, she just turns into a witch. Like she's like faster. Like
Because
he
for
goes
me,
over-
she's my co-MVP.
Joan
Joan
She
Cusack.
is so This is my favorite Joan Cusack role.
By far. She is she kills
She's
it.
everything
magnetic.
she needs to be. You know.
She's so good in this.
That part when they're like, the movers are moving in, and he goes over, he's like, "This is my wife."
Yeah.
He says it to the
And she's
movers.
like, "Shut up."
And he's like, give me a kiss.
I'm her husband.
Faster!
Give me a kiss.
When he goes, I almost wanted to cry when she leaves the bomb, and she goes, or she's about to leave. She has her bag.
He's like, "What is it?"
Or he goes, "Are you gonna be back?" She's like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, and like he does like a little spin and goes back and makes like cookies.
when he-
I wanted to cry because he's like so in love with her.
And he like guesses the
it.
bomb. He's like, "Is it a bomb?" And she's like, "What?"
Like he's so excited for a bomb. He's like, "Yes." But no,
That's the
dude.
subverting expectations that they're so demented, and like they're like homicide is every day for them.
Yeah. So she's
You
met
know?
her match
Yes.
from the beginning.
Yeah, but
you know?
she like is the audience surrogate, even though she's the killer. You
Yes.
know?
Yes.
Because they're so weird and kooky that everything's inverted, and you constantly like are subverted for whatever reason because of our programming as human beings in society that you don't see any of these jokes coming, even though they're so obvious.
Yeah.
And you're just fucking laughing at yourself, being like, God, why am I fucking laughing at this stupid shit? But everyone's the funniest fucking
Yes.
joke you've ever heard.
One scene I totally forgot about that I think is so goddamn brilliant is when they're at the camp and they have serial killer trading cards, and that's how they figure out about the Black Widow, who's Joan Cusack.
It's her.
And like they're trading it out. They're like, "I'll give you." What were they trying to trade? They're trying to trade the woman that-
Fuck, I can't remember her name.
Jamie Fisher or
Amy Fisher.
Amy Fisher,
Yeah.
which
Oh my! That was so topical at the time.
Yeah.
and it was because I watched the movie last night with my significant other who's a little bit younger, and she didn't know anything of, so I started telling the Amy Fisher story.
Oh, you're talking about the wonderful Joey Buttafuoco?
Oh yes. And
When I say that name, I want to vomit.
So that's a great Addams Family style story because
Yes.
the wife gets and you can. I mean, sadly, the wife gets
Yes.
a bullet to the head.
Awful.
Survives. And then, I could be wrong about this, but I think even the wife and Amy Fisher eventually sort of became
like
friends or something,
yeah,
right?
because she was so young, she was manipulated by this fucking trash bag of a human. And you know, and everything I guess worked out. But
he could have been a character in.
Oh my God!
Not the Addams Family, but a neighbor or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the real horror. Yeah.
While we're in that cabin, though, the fucking best joke in the movie is when he walks in and sees that Michael Jackson poster.
Dude. So do you know why that? Do you know why that is?
Michael Jackson
He's supposed to do a song,
and did do a song.
Dude, have you heard it?
I have not actually listened to it.
Roll the clip.
Here I am. What do you want?
We want you out of town. You don't fit in here.
You're not like us.
Why do I have to be?
Wouldn't you like to stay and play? with us.
I haven't
No,
heard
but no,
it.
okay. So seriously, like all jokes aside, he wrote a song. They had a. He was going through allegations at the time.
Right, but they
didn't
tried to
want-
say that wasn't it. You
They
know.
were like, no, which might have been true. They said his contract was way too big,
Yeah.
and they're like, we can't give him a
Yeah,
fortune
yeah.
for a one song.
Yeah, checks out.
Yeah. Okay. So that song ended up being put out on one of his albums after he passed away. It's out there. Okay. So check it out. Roll the
What's
clip.
the name of the song?
Let me look my notes real quick. I do have it listed. It's called "Is It Scary?"
Is it scary?
Is it scary?
Copy.
Yeah. And
I
he
love
wrote
that.
it for the movie because he loves the Addams Family.
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he likes weird movies. I know he was into like Willard and what's the sequel to Willard?
Oh, Ben.
Yeah.
Ben, or Ben was first, right?
Ben was second.
Ben was second. Yeah, he loves those, and I think he did a song for Ben. I can't remember.
Apparently, he was into
He
horror.
did. Yeah, we actually have a
Yeah.
VHS tape on this shelf that's a Ben big box.
Yeah.
And one of the things I love about certain marketing for films back then is on the cover of VHS. And this is before Michael Jackson was Michael Jackson, by the way. It lists, like as big as the director's name, it lists and new song, new Ben theme song by Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's got a little bit of a history there.
Oh, he's a
Pretty
fucking
cool.
weirdo.
Yeah. So we talked about how wonderful this movie is, and it is. It's perfect. There is one misstep here, and that is them not putting that Michael Jackson song because the end song it ends on is one of the worst goddamn
Shut up!
songs.
It fucking rules.
Whoa,
I fucking
man.
hate that song so much.
There it is.
Come on, man. I'm surprised you're saying that.
I can play at a pep rally and fucking get everybody hyped.
Dude, you're the last person I would have thought that about that song.
When that started
so
playing,
90s.
I was like, "Oh my god!" It had a perfect movie, and then they were like, "Let's
It's
fucking
just like the Ninja Turtles
Yeah.
rap or whatever. It's
go
a
ninja,
fucking-
go ninja, go."
Yeah, it's
That's
the
that.
same
Now
fucking
that's
shit.
well, hold on. That's a good song. Okay.
Fucking shit.
Roll the clip. No, but okay. Yeah, so that's the one part where I was like, "Oh God, that's just of that time, right?" That song was just such a huge fucking hit. So
Yeah.
like they just threw it in there. But originally it was going to end with that Michael Jackson song, which I think would have been really interesting to see.
Well, speaking of the Wednesday series that's about to come out,
Hey, she's got some big shoes to fill. Because
she does.
Wednesday,
You kind
Christina
of get a
Ricci-
vibe of where that series might be going, but I could watch a whole series about this camp
Yes.
section
man.
of this movie.
Especially
Yes.
the play.
Oh my God!
The
And-
play for
so
me
good.
was formidable.
Yes.
It really solidified like some like I didn't even have any knowledge of colonization or Pilgrims versus Indians versus
Yeah.
Native Americans versus
sad
like
truth
what
of-
any of this
yeah.
stuff was as a kid. I didn't have
Right.
a clue watching this stuff, but it was enlightening and obvious, and it's like
Yeah.
duh, and it really kind of without knowing like put my entire generation on a path to being like, oh yeah, we need to end this bullshit Columbus Day. This
Yeah.
guy's a fraud. Like all this stuff. Like we need to kind of undo some of these things that we just kind of take for granted, don't really look into, or have been taught kind of like casually through school, and just without any implication to there's living people who are descendants of these people who are just totally ravaged, by us white people,
Another little MVP I have to shout out though is Peter McNichol, who plays the camp counselor, who's like a fucking psycho.
I just wanted to read.
Not on my time, Four Eyes.
And he's like hitting kids and shit when and they're doing the
Man,
play.
so funny. Those
That guy's
two as
so
a
good
pair.
at playing
They're both great, yeah.
Yes, that guy is also just really good at playing that little fucking sleaze guy. Like in Ghostbusters 2, he's the guy that
Yeah.
awakens Vigo and stuff
Yeah.
like that. He's just great at playing those little roles.
Yeah.
But I kind of forgot that he was in this movie until he showed up, and I was like, oh, that motherfucking face. Like every time I see that guy's face, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I just want to punch it. And he's
Yeah.
so good at playing
Yeah.
that role.
And when they're sitting there in the line box, and they're trying to feed him lines, and Wednesday just, she goes along with it enough to get everybody on stage, get all the pieces in place for her chess move, and then she goes and changes the script. and just a pure condemnation of all the white collars in the audience and everyone
good.
there, all their children and their neck. She's just like this generational bullshit that has been imposed upon us stops now. It's like she took advantage of the one moment she had to do that, and like what a fucking time to do it during a Thanksgiving play. And it's just, oh my God, the perfect condemnation, and just like show, even in this movie, this wide release mass marketed movie, to do this pure condemnation of that, like in a public forum, is so amazing.
I mean, that's definitely something that you like. That's more of a common thing now, but back then that was a big what,
right?
Especially
but
in kids' movies.
That to me goes to show you where we were in the '90s. The '90s, I mean, I personally love the '90s. It had a lot of problems, but like. That was definitely a '90s thing, where it's just like, wait, why do we care about this shit? And like, fuck it, let's just let people let's let people be people.
People
and
were like, what's the crying game? Like, what's going on in that movie? There were constant taboos being challenged, and it was all because the home video market was opening up all these new ideas to people who had never been exposed to them because of whatever they don't, cinema hadn't reached as far, into these in-between communities.
That's definitely something I always like look fondly on when I think of the '90s, because that was just a time where everybody, like you said, it was just like, let's go for it, let's just do it, like fuck it. We might get some backlash from some people in Middle America. Who gives a fuck?
It was a
They're gonna see it anyway, Yeah.
But that scene fucking is like the best scene in the movie, in my opinion. It's so cathartic. And
it is great.
It will be forever. It will never stop being like the most cathartic.
When they try to condition Wednesday by throwing all the Disney movies on, and that's me, by the way. Like, don't get me wrong, I watched a couple when I was a kid, but most of the time when they started singing, I was like, oh, like,
and
I just
that's like
hated
a setup to the punchline of the play. Like that is like them.
And right after they get her to smile for the first time, and her like trying to is one of the funniest goddamn things. And Christina Ricci, that is a great like physical performance to do that.
She crushes it.
And
she crushed the first movie, and so was super young in that one too. And just like really became the actor that she is, like, and was
her
able
delivery
to continue that
is
forever.
just boom, boom. Like she just kills it. Like, I mean, again, just goes back to casting this movie. Everyone is so goddamn good. Raul Julia, I mean, for my money, he's probably the best Gomez to ever be on screen.
And even in this movie, sadly, sadly, apparently, like his illness was very apparent on set.
Yes.
Apparently, an inability to eat, or and I don't know.
There's not a lot of the movie, but he's sitting a lot in this movie, and it's probably,
I heard that bed scene was pretty rough.
Yeah, with him, which I love that scene. Ironically, with him and Christopher Lloyd like bonding as being brothers and stuff like that.
I wonder if they wrote that around his.
Maybe so.
Needing to be in it.
Maybe so.
Yeah. But he was amazing even so. I mean, going through that.
You would have never known he was sick. That's how good he was. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And real quick, going back to them like talking, because like I love getting, because they in these movies they changed the family a little bit, where Fester's now the brother of Gomez, which I actually prefer, because I know the original series he was Morticia's uncle, I believe, right? Wasn't that or something like that?
I can't remember.
Doesn't matter. Either way, they changed it, I think, for the better.
Because he's got all the uncle dynamics, which is great. I love being an uncle. Like, one time I told my nephews when they were young, like, as a joke, like, I farted and it was like, smell my insides or something. I said something weird like that, and then they quoted me for, like, the next decade. But that's what being a drunkle is all about.
Yeah.
You
uncles,
impose
dude.
all the fucked up shit on your nephews.
I remember things from, like, cool uncles more sometimes than your actual, like, immediate family sometimes. It just happens like that. Or aunts,
There's
whatever.
so many great uncles in movies, too.
Yes.
Uncle Buck.
Gary Busey and Silver Bullet.
Oh, that's the ultimate uncle right there.
Yeah.
He's just drunk the whole time. He's like, nah, you want me to make you a silver bullet? Yeah, all right.
Shit on the Yankees. Shit on the Phillies. Yeah, he's great.
And he builds in the goddamn motorcycle. Come on.
Did you guys have crazy uncles yourselves? Or?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, nothing. Can't get into that. But yeah.
I'm doing any kind of things that you want me to do with you, Uncle Jack, you know?
No, it's stuff that relatives do.
Definitely some crazy uncles. I mean, nothing as far as Fester level goes, but I remember having an uncle that was like super into NASCAR, like super into it, like was building his own like car in the garage, and like. But he was like the
Aspiring
nicest
NASCAR
guy. He was the
driver.
nicest guy in the world. But he was just like, we were complete opposites as far as like what we enjoyed, what we liked.
Yeah.
But you couldn't help but give him a hug when you saw him because he was just the nicest teddy bear of a man, you know. But when you look in his garage, you're like, I cannot relate to any of this at all. Like, you know, I always thought he was kind of weird just because he was always tinkering, you know, just one of those guys, like wants me in the garage. Just
What became
wants
of
to be
the
left
car?
alone.
Did he get it done? Did he go?
I think he did, but I don't think he ever raced it. I think he was probably just keeping that bad boy in the garage.
Do y'all have brothers?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, a little brother.
Do you have like any kind of like Gomez to Fester like type relationship where you're sizing yourself up or wishing that you had that thing that they have that's so special or any of that kind of stuff?
Well,
I have sisters, so I don't know.
Okay.
My brother was older by 5 years, so like he was. I mean, obviously, younger brother's always looking up to the older brother, you know. But we'd always like, we were pretty. We're still close and everything like that. We were close back then, and every time anything got heated, it'd always be he punches me and then I leave him alone for a while. Like that was how it went. But then like when I got older, I got like stronger and I was able to like, you know, wrestle with him more. And I like he'd try to like wrestle in my bed and I'd throw him off and he'd try to get back on and I'd throw him off again. And he's like, oh fuck, you're strong now. Like I can't do this anymore.
You ever seen wrestling on television?
I am well aware of what wrestling is. It's just not what uncles do to their nephews.
But
So,
was
like-
there any part of his life that you coveted or wanted for your own that you felt like was maybe you were
Sure.
the ugly one? You know, like Fester.
First of all, I definitely think my brother's more handsome than me for sure. That's number one. But definitely with sports, my brother was way better at sports than I was, and I always wanted to be better than him at sports because I was like, oh, you know, like, not that my parents were never like, you got to do this, da da da. They were just like, you know, we did it. Your brother did it, and I was like, yeah, I probably should do it too. So it was one of those things, kind of sneaky, like ninja tactic, you know. But no, and weirdly enough, I actually liked playing sports for the most part, but I was never as good as my brother. Like my brother was a really good like pitcher. He was good at football. And I could never match that level. And I think it was one of those things where like I'll never forget, for example, like I'm going way off track, but I'll never forget like telling my dad I'm not playing football anymore and him just being like, all right. Like I thought it was gonna be way worse.
I had the same deal.
I like sat him down. I was trying to be quiet about it and like, hey, like I just don't think it's for me, you know. I thought it was gonna be awful. I thought he was gonna be like, well, you're not my son, you know. But he was like, all right.
Yeah, my dad.
Like he was
my
like,
dad
all right,
said
that's
figures.
fine. Yeah, figures.
Yeah.
But luckily it worked out because my dad was like super into rock and roll and I liked playing, you know, guitar. So we had that bond always.
So there's a little bit of Addams Family going on there. Because
little bit.
It's a great scene when
little bit.
when Joan Cusack's telling them that the kids want to go to camp and that they're afraid to tell them because they think they'll be disappointed.
Yes.
You know, and then but despite their horror of that.
Yeah, because they're so
just
against
like,
that idea.
And here they are driving to camp. They'll do
Yes.
anything for their kids.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
They get tricked, especially in the first movie too. They get tricked on their insecurities, and they're just like regular people. Addams Family are victims of their own prejudices and their own shortcomings.
Yeah.
And so they fall victim to like these, like in the first movie with Fester's caretaker, you know, being like, you know, playing on their naivete, and every time she sees Gomez going left, she goes left, and goes right, he goes right, and she's one step ahead of him because she can foresee all his insecurities are right there on his sleeve.
Yeah.
And so they fall victim to that, and also in the sequel that kind of goes into the dynamic where Fester is thinking that his relationship is going because all he knows is what Gomez and Morticia went through, and that's what he's shaping his relationship to be like.
Yeah.
And so when it doesn't work and he's getting more and more frustrated, all he does is like reverse into that safe space of just love on her and just be extra lovey-dovey and like try to like make the house full of pastels and do everything she says and cut off the family, you know, and he's, you know, Gomez shows up, he's like, that's not my brother, and he's like, go away, you know, he's just trying to love her unconditionally because he's seen that works for Gomez.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's all he knows.
Yes.
And that sad insecurity.
And this is very relatable.
It is.
I mean, you know,
So
everyone
much.
has a story like this.
Yeah, everyone.
Everything that Fester's going through when they move into the new house, he ends up having to wear new clothes.
he's up her butt.
Yeah, he's up her butt. Yeah.
That's a good callback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good callback. No, actually, like my heart is like broken when they arrive at the new house and she's at the stairs. She's like, Fester doesn't want to see you anymore, and they're like, well, why? And he's just like, he wants nothing, like just completely fucking everything up, and they like are so heartbroken. They're like, what? Like, what do we do?
Yeah,
and it's a really well made scene, and like where it's just like the dial has switched on Joan Cusack, and now she's just full on evil. She's waiting to get her money.
And I love when the Addams family is ever in an environment that they're not used to. Of course, when they're in camp and everything, but when they walk into the home and Morticia is like, lists all the awful things that Joan Cusack's character has done, and she's like, this I can understand, but really, pastels? Like,
I can relate.
I mean, what horrifies them, is awesome.
Yeah.
And this movie like goes for the laughs. Like if there's an opportunity to go for the joke and the laugh, or like service the plot or the story, they go for the laugh every time. But it ends up working in their favor because you just are charmed by the movie, and it just like keeps it going. It's like fuel. Yeah. And you're just fueled through the whole movie, like Dumb and Dumber or something else that's just wall-to-wall laughter.
Yeah.
But
some movies just fucking come together so well, and you're just like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And this is one
miracle.
of them. Like 100%.
And I think it's because they went for that mood. They knew that they could repeat the first one, right? Rinse and repeat if they wanted to. Yeah. But what they did was they expanded all those relationships and kind of exploded the concept.
Fleshed it out. Just fleshed it out.
And then just dropped in every joke they could come up with that were good. And then made whole sequences about jokes.
Yeah.
And really just made this like stand-up special, essentially. With where it's one guy's gimmick, and his whole gimmick is inverting normal societal norms, Yeah. And then doing a whole number on that, the whole movie, with all this like family dynamic stuff, and it's like a perfect stew.
It's amazing. Like, and there's little tiny things too that you see and it's sprinkled out throughout the whole movie, and you're just like, God. But again, everything you're saying is insane because like this is the second one. Like this, they usually don't find their footing on the second one. You know what I mean? It's like I can't believe that. I guess because the first one was so successful from the box office, and critically it was okay. Like they did a pretty good job. Yeah. But this one,
critically, the first one made a ton of money.
This one exceeded though. Way.
But the second one didn't make as much.
The second one did not make, but it was critically better received.
Yeah.
But I guarantee
Roger Ebert liked it.
I guarantee you, it probably made a smash at the home video market. Because I remember even like renting movies and seeing commercials saying it's now at home video.
That videotape was like always like in the player or on top of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, it felt like a success when you read the numbers. You know, I mean, not as big a success, I guess, as the first one, but roughly the budget being in the $45 million range. That's a big budget for especially a sequel
and
comedy.
And that tiered
like
of budget, like that number right there you just said, that doesn't even exist anymore, really.
Yeah,
it's always micro or huge.
Yeah. And it didn't fail either. In my book, it's a success because it made $101 million. It doubled its budget.
Doubled up.
But to them back then, it was just it didn't really do what we thought it was going to do. It didn't do 250 like the first one.
Right.
You know, which was what they expected.
It's like, bullshit because they probably made twice as that on home video on top of what they made in the box office. You know?
Yeah, home video is always a weird thing to look back on because sometimes it's not recorded well.
Yeah, and I love it when they do report the numbers though. Sometimes you're like, oh my god, like Tremors made this much on home video, and you're like, holy fuck, if only they would have known. Like, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things.
Right.
But real quick, so like one of the things that I picked up on that I for some reason like kind of forgot was in this one particularly. Anytime Angelica Houston is on screen, they had that like awesome like old Hollywood light on her.
Noir lighting.
Yes,
and it's James Bond.
Caramia.
Marvelous news. I'm going to have a baby. Right now.
Yes, but like even when she's in
no matter what she's doing,
even when she's in a wide shot with everyone in there,
they get it in there.
Boom, they get in there, and that's just I love that because they're like, hey, you know what?
She can't move.
Yeah.
When you're in that lighting, it's not like the whole thing is like that. It's this.
Yeah.
And so her head is like, don't fucking move.
Yeah.
And that's how the light is set.
Yes.
Well, luckily her character is perfect statue.
It's perfect for
Morticia doesn't do a lot of moving anyways, you know.
And she's all
cut out of marble, so it doesn't matter.
She's all eyes and, she's just so good, and that lighting was amazing. Great
Yeah.
little touch.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was a
Play
pain in the
on-
ass on the set, but like, God, I love they committed to it the whole time.
That vampiric, like, temptress look they gave her, that's classic Hollywood, but also, like, reinforced by characters like Elvira and stuff like that.
Right.
That have that more sexy, like,
Yeah.
sensual kind of, like, 90s vibe thing, 80s, thing. Whatever that was that Elvira had going on, it's rad, but,
Sure.
it's its own thing.
Yeah.
But Morticia had that in, like, a motherly kind of way because of the mother dynamic. But at the same time, like, she looked like she just walked right off the runway,
Yes.
just, like, gorgeous.
Yes.
And then
So
Gomez trying to meet her, there with his, like, pinstripe in the first, and then his, like, amazing suits and roses.
Yeah.
So
And their
good.
look and their monochromatic look with a little bit of red flourishes, but mostly this Tim Burton black and white grays
Yes.
aesthetic that fits their house, it fits their cars, it fits anything they touch. It's like an aspiring look that I know all horror fans like eventually
Yeah.
gravitate to. Sometimes you get a little hot topic-y, like to the left a little bit with that stuff.
Yeah.
But like you've been to a couple of people's, like your house has a horror vibe, but it's all its own.
Yeah.
And then there's this, like kind of like a wooden kind of 80s feel.
Yeah.
And then there's the Morticia Gomez, type of reality where it's like decrepit but not, and like black and white and stripes and like Tim Burton-esque. Which, what funny
So,
thing?
so you've mentioned Tim Burton twice, just real quick.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people
Thinks that he directed
think
this?
that Tim Burton directed
Well,
these films.
Sonnenfeld went to Cal Arts with Tim Burton, with Brad
Oh,
Bird,
wow.
Pixar. They all are cut from the same cloth.
I didn't know
dude.
that. I didn't know Sonnenfeld was
Well,
there.
And one thing I love, this is totally random, but like Barry Sonnenfeld's like custom font that he has in this, and he carries it over to Men in Black, and it's just like tall and lanky. I steal that slender font like all the time.
I love it.
Oh,
Fucking
dude.
love the
Yeah, it's
autograph,
great.
like
Yeah.
the first name, and then the slender font on the back.
Yeah.
And like, like nothing against Wes Anderson, but motherfucker choose Helvetica as his main font.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah. Like
This guy's got a fucking custom, and you can't even find like a
Yeah.
font. You have to find a custom font every time. But just like nails it, and that's like an aesthetic. now.
Yes.
It's like it's imprinted like a tattoo in your brain. Like
Yes.
that's what
Yeah.
it looks like. And so when you see it come back in like Men in Black, you almost think, did Tim Burton direct this too?
That's true.
Because it
Yeah.
really falls into those camps.
Well, he's really an amazing guy, and I know that his cinematography resume,
with the
he
Coens, yeah.
obviously has extensive experience in cinema.
Imagine going that's your film school. You don't need to go to
unbelievable.
film school.
He did porn before that, and I'm sure that was its own film
Cut
school
your
in a
teeth
way.
on that.
But the
all the
Addams,
good ones do.
but the Addams
Wally's
Family
sister
won.
started in porn.
John Hamm.
Yeah, the Addams Family won his first movie. His
Really?
First
That's his first?
directorial.
Really?
yeah,
They gave him the keys.
which
yeah.
is amazing. Like
feel like an idiot
and
right
just
now. I
right
thought
out
he-
of the gate.
I thought he did more in like the 80s. Oh my god.
Yeah.
No.
For me, it was I was trying to decide if we wanted to do First Frights.
Yeah,
For the first one,
exactly.
or
Wow.
Addams Family Values.
Is that not an amazing first movie?
Addams Family Values for me went right here. I was like, we could do a Revenge of the Sequels episode
Yeah,
because
I
it's
think-
so good.
I think we made
Yeah.
the right call. Like if we ever want to, we can go back and do a
First
first, yeah,
Frights,
but no, I think you made the right call. I think this one is more. This one's funner to talk about because there's just so much going on here and everything works.
Well,
you
this
know
is
what I
my
mean?
favorite out of the two.
Yeah, and
I
also-
love them
This
both.
one more.
And,
Yeah.
and look, I love the original series, but if I'm ever God, I want to introduce someone to an Addams Family, it's always going to be Family Values, always.
If I can find them, I still need to call my mom. But I went on a tour of the studios of Las Colinas back when I was a little kid. It's this little studio in Dallas, and they would collect big memorabilia pieces from movies. Like they had the bench from Forrest Gump and a whole set of Star Trek and like a White House Oval Office from random like Dick the movie, random shit. And really cool place actually at the time.
Sounds cool.
Now
Yeah.
like Glenn Beck owns it and it's totally ruined.
fuck.
What the fuck?
Yeah. What are you gonna do with that place? Anyway, so but before they had a whole they had the Addams Family graveyard. They had collected all the headstones. And they rebuilt it and they lit it They lit it like the movie, so when you walk into it, it's a whole studio. And I'm like, oh man, they dedicated a whole studio to that.
I love that.
And the guy giving the tour was the dude from RoboCop who turns into a mutant and gets hit by the car. He was the tour guide at the time.
No way.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
And the best thing was he takes you into a little mini movie theater and he plays his shit. He has a reel of his own shit from RoboCop and you have to watch it.
Dude, I'm sick with jealousy.
He goes, all right, now you're on the tour. You got to see who I am.
Yeah, it fucking rolled, and we got to watch him like fucking implode. You know, he turns to goo and then explodes by getting hit by the car. But anyway, he shows all that stuff as part of the tour, which is fucking hilarious.
Oh my god!
But yeah, so we wander through that graveyard, right? And I have my little two-handed Fisher-Price camera that goes into both eyes.
Oh yeah!
And like,
we need to bring this back.
Little fucking kid, and I'm fucking taking all these pictures. I wasted a whole reel in the fucking
because you couldn't see
Addams
anything.
Family.
Graveyard.
And I missed 3 exhibits after that because I can't I never changed film before. I'm trying to change film like on the go, like on a tour guide. And like I had just blown a whole reel.
Hey, who can blame
in the
you?
Addams Family.
You know, speaking of the cemetery, the wedding in the cemetery in this movie, I think is so cool. You know, you watch things in movies and you're like, that gives me an idea, you know. And when I watched this again the other day, I thought to myself, because I'm engaged now, so you know, all kinds of ideas are being thrown around, but you know, I thought to myself, you know, in a graveyard. That it looks really good on screen. Like I wonder if I could talk her into that, you know. But it's such a cool move. Every little design choice in this movie is so.
I think
so
you'd be
perfect.
okay doing a cemetery wedding. I think you'd be just fine.
Oh yeah,
I would be fine.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, she'd be great. You know.
Yeah.
We'll just get black lights.
Oh,
we'll get,
she would go for it. Yeah.
We'll go
This
nuts.
shit's so macabre and so classically.
Yeah.
Like it's got an element of hammer horror in there too because of the type of design it is.
And those sets, again, like
Dude,
those sets
everything.
are so
And
great.
again, that's why, you know, I'm sure that Tim Burton confusion comes up.
Yeah, of course.
This guy, Tim Burton, this movie in a way,
Yeah.
really well.
He went
I mean,
all
it's
out.
like, yeah.
And he did
it's
not
got
stop.
all of
you
those
know?
elements.
And
yeah.
I don't know what the budget was on this thing. Was it 40?
47.
Okay, so that's pretty big, but you know, these days, like we talked about, like the range
But the
of like,
money's on the screen.
The money, yes.
you could, I was just gonna
It's on
say,
the
like
screen.
you could see every dollar
You see
spent.
$47 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because some movies you see on $100 million today, and it looks
Yeah.
like it was shot on $20,000.
Because we've got practical stuff
We've
going
got
on
A-listers
everywhere.
who take
Yeah.
all
A
the
big
money
chunk
right
of
off
that
the
money.
top.
We've got miniatures.
Yeah.
You know, we're at camp. I mean, you know, there's
There's
a
a
lot
lot
of different
going
stuff
on.
going on here.
There's some cool practical effects.
Some fire effects going on.
Yeah.
Some, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, they
a
technically
lot of
blow
fun
up
stuff.
that mansion.
They do.
Fucking awesome.
And that wall of flame looks so
fucking
good. Yeah.
The fact that that looks good for 1993
Yeah.
just goes to show you how
True.
much more
And that's a
effort
visual
they
effect.
put into. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They put just so much more effort into it, you
Yeah.
know, and you can just tell. Like you said, the money, you could see it being spent on screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You really can, and that's
These are
that's
well.
not something you see much these days.
And the money's like, you can also see it spent in the writer's room too, like the development stage. Even though they like went into production fast on this, you can see that it was fleshed out before they started rolling.
They probably
and they also like had some ideas too that all worked out.
I bet on the first
Super
one they were
lucky.
like, "Hey, if this works out, we could, establish this, flesh out this, blah blah blah." One thing I noticed that they
The reason I was going to say that was
go ahead.
real quick was because in the writer's room you come up with story or whatever, but if you come up with this stuff at the script level, then on set you have the ability to toss it for a better idea, but you also have the ability to add to it. And that what this movie does and excels in is what like I always champion that show Community does, where they have a second thing or element in the background happening to flesh out the world build, do stuff. Like for instance, like there's this great shot of Pugsley in the background hanging himself in the camp in the background. Just in the background.
Once
like
again,
stuff like that.
That's some dark shit for the 90s, you know what I mean? Like, I love that.
And that might
Went for
not
it.
have been script level like the foreground stuff, but they could have come up with that being like, hey, there's some negative space over here. And because they knew what they were doing and shooting the sequence the way they were allowed to that freedom to do that stuff.
Right.
And Sonnenfeld had just proven himself, so they just like gave him the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah.
And he had the money to pull all that stuff off. And this movie is extra hilarious because there's little laughs in between the big laughs. And so that's why this movie is wall to wall, because there's so much packed in.
Just goes to show you everything worked. Everything worked in this movie. Now, okay, so one thing I noticed that, again, I kind of forgot about was in the rewatch that I fucking totally forgot that Carol Kane replaces the grandma. And she does a fantastic job.
Fantastic
Her
job.
makeup is amazing.
She's so good.
Do you think that when a new baby arrives, one of the other children has to die?
Yes. Well, that's just not true. Not anymore.
Amazing. I just want to throw that out there and give her a shout out because I love her.
Horror. Yeah.
I love her. I love her and everything she's done. She is an amazing actress. Very comedic too. Great comedic.
She's great in Scrooge. Like she's great in everything.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
She's also really good in a newer thing. She's really great in Kimmy Schmidt on Netflix or whatever. Yeah, it's good. But she's one of my favorite parts in it. Anyways, yeah, gotta give it a Carol Kane shout out.
And I'll give a shout out while you're doing that, but to Cousin It.
We all know who plays him in this one.
Isaac. From Children of the Corn.
Oh, by the way,
what's his name? Josh something?
It doesn't matter. Because we all know him from Children of the Corn.
He's so good in this movie.
He's also in another movie that we all might enjoy.
What?
A little film called Tammy and the T-Rex.
Oh yeah.
Oh nice.
Roll the clip.
Yeah, Josh Franklin.
There you go.
And there's a little cute interview that he does with this old lady who had a show in the 90s, you know, some out of touch reporter lady. It's so sad because she interviews Raul Julia too, and they only give her 4 minutes, and she's like, how long for this interview? While they're getting settled and he's already seated, and they're like, you got 4 minutes for this interview. She's like, 4 minutes? Oh, it's getting shorter. And it's like she totally just told that guy to say 4 minutes like before they got started because she has no real questions for this guy. You know? It's one of those, you know? And like Raul, is it Raul, right?
Thanks, Raul.
Yeah.
Raul. I think. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry if we mispronounce it.
It's okay. So Raul is like across from her, and he has time to answer one question because he's long-winded. And so he doesn't even finish his first question. And she's like, well, it's been great talking to you.
Oh, God.
But she does an interview with Cousin It, and I'll put it in the video, but she does
Please,
it
God.
with Josh Franklin.
Yeah.
And she doesn't understand him or whatever, but he's like, I'm like Shakespearean trained. Like, this is fun for me. Like, but all jokes aside, aside, Josh Franklin can act.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And he's a good actor, but you know, whatever.
Dude, he's the best part of Children of the Corn.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, but anyway, you could tell just like this fucking interview, like he's carrying it, you know, and it's one of those classic like bad things.
What if he started talking? What if he just started talking like Cousin Ed? He's like,
but you can hear it in his voice. You
Yeah,
know, when
of
he's
course.
in that interview.
Yeah.
But
I
Josh
do like how
Franklin-
they. By the way, I do like how they threw in Cousin It at the very end of the movie. That was awesome. I love they throw him in there because. Because when I was a kid, I thought he was the coolest, you know. Because when you're a kid, you just think, oh, he's a hairy dude with glasses and a top hat, cool.
Yeah.
But you know, as I got older, I liked everyone in the immediate family as opposed to Cousin
And
Ed.
everybody's back. Like pretty much everybody's back except for the grandma. But even this lady Amanda Buckman, who played the Girl Scout in the first movie, is now
yes,
the camp lead.
She did such a great job. I'm so glad you brought her up because she's a key part in this movie, being a great villain.
Great villain.
Yes.
For
great
the B-plot.
adversary for Wednesday.
Yes.
I love when they do the reenactment of the drowning, and she goes, I'll be the victim, and then she's like, your whole life.
I'll be the victim all your life.
And I was like, oh, God, I love it.
And then she lets her jump in. She's like, I don't know how to swim.
So good. And little shout out there. I want to say, isn't that David, the the child, her love interest in that movie. That's what's his face from David Krumholtz or whatever.
Yeah, I
from
forget
like
his
Harold
name.
and Kumar and like all this shit. You'll know his face if you see him, but I just totally forgot that he was in that as a love interest. And he's really good too. He's very sweet.
And his dad is played by Barry Sonnenfeld. So the director plays his dad as the
Get the fuck out of here! I love that fucking guy from Freaks and Geeks and all that stuff.
He's
that
like,
guy is
please,
so good.
He's like, please don't touch his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, someone who was up for the role of Joan Cusack's character, Marissa Tomei, apparently was very close to being casted. But
Remind me who Marissa Tomei is.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm just blanking. I know the name.
Go ahead and cut that
My
part
cousin
out.
Benny?
Yeah. My cousin.
Oh, yeah. Duh. I just
one of the hottest women on the planet.
Yeah.
No, but
well, Marissa Tomei can do anything, so I don't want to.
No. I love
take
Marissa
anything away from
Tomei.
her.
Don't get me wrong.
It is hard to imagine anyone else, though.
Exactly. That's all I was gonna say. Is like I love Marissa Tomei. I'm sure she would have done fine, but Joan Cusack just has this like almost like Cruella DeVille like vibe to her, where she's just like a psychopath. In sheepskin, and it's so good.
So perfect for this. It's the ultimate compliment to say I can't imagine anyone else.
Yeah, of course.
You create that.
Yeah.
You know, and she did that.
It's funny because I know she's known for other things, but like every time I think of her, I just think of her in Family Values. I can't help it. Like she's so good in it. And I don't know how she would feel about it now, but I mean, I would tell her.
She feel fantastic.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so because I think she's a VIP in this.
A human being? Don't I yearn and ache and shop? Don't.
Like she really is.
So like one thing I've always thought about is if I had been a actor like who's lived a life and done a bunch of characters successfully, a bunch of iconic characters, for Halloween I would just go as myself. And like her like electrocuted with her hair would be the ultimate Halloween costume for Joan Cusack to wear.
Yeah.
Get on it. No, but like that, I think if she, let me put it this way, if she would take a photo with her just in that hairdo, like on Halloween with the makeup and everything, she'd probably like be everywhere.
Halloween.
She would win Halloween. She'd be everywhere on social media. So little tidbit, if you want to PR, we'll be a PR for you, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I thought that was interesting though. Like Marissa Tomei was pretty close because she was on a winning streak during that time as far as like her career goes. Like you know, she just got nominated for an Oscar and stuff like that, and I think she was apparently pretty close. But they did the right thing.
What a fucking cool movie though. Like,
God,
from top to bottom, essentially, like a plot that is like world class and like subversive and playing with our expectations and everything as how a family should be and how a family should work, and then showing you that it works even better than what your family's probably like. You know, how dysfunctional you thought you were, like they are 10 times that, but also better and stronger as a family unit. And then this B plot that's like challenging the norms and conformity, nonconformity, racial history and bias in the America, West.
Yeah.
And like
and especially coming from a little girl.
Years from now, my people will be forced to live in mobile homes, on reservations. Your people will wear cardigans and drink highballs. We will sell our bracelets by the roadsides. You will play golf and enjoy hot hors d'oeuvres. And for all these reasons, I've decided to scalp you and burn your village to the ground.
Like that's what's so great. Like,
coming from the mouth of babes, too. Just to fucking seal the deal and like fucking all these white people parents and the.
And you can see them all like just like cringing while they're listening. They're like, ooh, like
what kind of camp did we send our kids to? God damn it!
That's so good. And the look on Peter McNichol's face when she changes it on him, he's like he's just dead inside. Just so good, so good. Again, another good villain and a little minor villain, but still.
And then when they finally come back together and the most formidable foe has like totally got the entire Addams family on a switch and is about to like pull the plug, and she's subverted by the newest member of the family.
So good.
Electrocuting her, because of her vanity and her, she had to fucking like let them know how she did it and let them know how she beat them, and gives the kid the opening pubert.
So fucking good.
A chance to fucking clean up. And it's like the best conclusion to this sequel.
Yeah.
It's like, you know how like certain shows like get canceled and they don't like fulfill like what they set out to start. I feel like this sequel not only expands and fulfills what the first movie was trying to do, and the first movie is great on its own.
Yeah,
Great,
it is.
stands on its own. But this one fulfills what it was trying to do and gives it a hearty closing bow on top and like completes the story.
Yeah, like if this was the only Addams Family we got, we had nothing else, I'd be totally satisfied.
Oh, sure.
You know?
And the only thing I can think of now that I would want as a fan, like fan servicey type thing, would be to see not Morticia, like not. I would want a Christina Ricci movie, but I wouldn't want her to play Morticia.
No,
I want to see her as Wednesday as an adult, and with a whole new family dynamic, and being like Addams Family 2,
Yes.
Addams Family Values 2,
in this world, like that
In
we're
this
currently
world.
living in,
and dealing with all the bullshit with her in a modern family.
All right, Netflix, can you just like
Yeah,
call
that's
us so we can
fantastic
like
idea.
help you guys out?
I hope that this Wednesday show is close
me
to
too.
what I want.
Me too.
I'm not, betting on it, but
The
I'm
teaser,
looking forward
the
to
teaser
it.
made it seem like it's definitely going that dark direction, which we all love.
Yeah, but they're keeping her the same age, right?
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah, I think she might be like a teenager,
Which is smart in
Yeah.
its own right, because
Yeah.
this generation didn't experience family values like us, so
Right.
they deserve their own Addams Family
They do.
entry
They
with,
do.
with the right ages, characters.
It'd be
and
cool
stuff.
if we got some Pubert in there, though.
Hell yeah.
That would
Yeah,
be great.
yes. Everyone needs Pubert. You know what though? Did you guys watch the animated one that came
I
out
did.
with
Oh,
Charlie
yeah.
Theron and
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac and stuff
I'm
like
surprised at how much
I liked
that.
it. I liked it. It's good. I mean, look, it's different. It's animated, so it's whatever. You can say what you want about that. But I'll give them credit, man. Like, they took the original designs from the original comic strip and they put them right there in front of you, you know?
Right.
And I love that. And I thought the voice cast was pretty damn good. The animation was great. Do I think it's even close to Family Values? No, not really. But that's not for me. That's
Right.
not my generation's Addams Family. So it is what it is.
Addams Family Values is just a very that's a high standard to live up to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because even when I would go back and watch the old series, which I love and adore, I'm kind of like, oh, this makes me want to watch Family Values now after this. Like, it does. Like, I can't help it.
Yeah.
This is our new nanny, Dementia.
Dementia. What a beautiful name.
It means insanity.
My name's Vesta. It means to rot.